Hey, Planeswalkers, Mithras here. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today. And we got a lot coming your way. We have a #1 new ranked Mythic deck. So very, very excited about this. Very different to the most extent, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But we will cover the main board. We'll talk about the sideboard. We'll pull them both together in a how-to guide for you and wrap it up for our best of 3 matches. And then we'll go play some competitive Magic in both best of 1 and best of 3 Mythic today. Right on the cusp of top 1500. We'll see if we can do it, but we'll find out. Now, before we get started, as always, a huge thank you again because I truly appreciate your support. Please like the video if you enjoy it and learn something new. And additionally, please feel free to subscribe to the channel down there. It helps a lot. So thank you, Planeswalkers. Really, really appreciate it. Other ways to support the channel down below in the description. All right, so let's go check out today's deck. We have, my friends, a #1 ranked Rakdos Escape deck. That is right. So I will talk about some of these differences between the Rakdos Midrange and this particular deck in a moment. But before we do so, for those of you that are new, those of you that are returning, the deck list is available for you down below in the description. So you have the link there. You also have the list, so you can copy and paste and play it right away. And additionally, if you do have questions throughout the video, please let me know. Here to help. And I also have a Discord server down there, so you guys can pop in and hang out with everyone. So it is a Rakdos deck. So that is the red and the black color schema there. Mountains and swamps, giving us the Rakdos from Ravnica Guild. And then additionally, it is escape because it focuses heavily on the escape mechanic here, which is we may cast that card from our graveyard for its escape cost. In this particular instance, we got Ox of Agonis, and I'll cover this card because we'll come back and talk about it again in a little bit. But when it enters the battlefield, we discard our hand, then we draw 3 cards. We can escape it for 2. We can exile 8 other cards from our graveyard. Ox of Agonis will escape with a +1/+1 counter on it. So that is what this is all about. This deck is really, really interesting because it is different from the mid-range version because it really, really focuses on that escape path. It doesn't have as actually any sorcery spells minus this one here. Everything else is at instant speed. It's heavily focused on enchantments. We do have kind of those mid-rangey type creatures, but the reality is there's a lot more to it than just the general mid-range. So it's definitely a different deck than the typical mid-range one. So I do want to get that out there for those of you that are looking at this. There are some rather unique things, and we'll use that as our segue in terms of looking at the deck in its totality here before we go ahead and hop in and do a deep dive kind of on all the cards here. But very, very excited about this one today. I think we're going to have some fun and really, really looking forward to playing it for you here in Mythic. Now, quickly, what I like about this is it's actually running a mainboard Footfall Crater. So this is pretty sweet in terms of what we have in the deck and activating some of these other things. But for those of you that don't know this card, typically you see it in the cycle decks. It is an enchantment aura. It enchants a land. An enchanted land has, we can tap it, target creature gains trample and haste until end of turn. So people forget about the trample. So this is something that can get you over the top and really, really help close games. Then we have Eliminate here. So we have destroy target creature or planeswalker with converted mana cost 3 or less. Again, at instant speed, a nice removal. And again, it hits planeswalkers too. So this is going to help you against things like mono white in terms of Basri and those kinds of things. Then we have Heartless Act. So we can destroy target creature with no counters on it or remove up to 3 counters from target creature. Again, doing a lot of work there for us. At that instant speed, we got Mire Triton. So here we got the Death Toucher. Now when it enters the battlefield, we mill 2 cards, we gain 2 life, so that graveyard fill is going to be really, really nice with this Rakdos mechanic, escape mechanic. Then we got Shredded Sails, so we got an instant speed that we can either destroy target artifact or deal 4 damage to target creature with flying, and it's got cycle for 2. So this is good against all the decks playing things like Great Henge. It hits the Cleaves, it hits all those nice, lovely glass caskets and those fun things. Then additionally, you can use it against some of the rogues decks to take out some of those flyers, which is nice. And it hits Terror of the Peaks. Then we got Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. We're only running 2 main board here, so that's pretty important to keep in mind. When it does enter the battlefield, we sacrifice it unless it escaped. When Kroxa enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a land. each opponent discards a card. Then that opponent who didn't discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life. And then we can pay its escape for 4 and exile 5 other cards to get this back from our graveyard. Then we have Shatter Skull Smashing. So again, this is the 1 sorcery spell. It's also a modal land here, so it deals X damage as we divide it up, as we choose among up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. If X is 6 or more, Shatter Skull Smashing deals twice X divided as we choose among them instead. Very, very nice. And then that lovely Pain Land, as I like to call it, it can enter tapped, or we can pay 3 and have it enter in untapped. Then we have Elspeth's Nightmare. So here, this is a saga. It enters. We can either do 3 things. Well, we will do 3 things. First, it's going to destroy target creature and opponent controls with power 2 or less. Target opponent then will reveal their hand, choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player will then discard that card, and then exile target opponent's graveyard. So very, very powerful, happens each turn on the stack. So very, very nice, giving us a lot of abilities. Then we have Time Array, Calls the Dead. Here we can mill 3 cards, then we can exile a creature or enchantment card from our graveyard. If we do, we get to create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Here we at 3, we can gain X life and scry X, where X is the number of zombies we control. Then we have Bone Crusher Giant. So Bone Crusher Giant is that Stompy McStomp guy here with its instant speed that deals 2 damage. It does have that adventure, and that damage can't be prevented. And then it is a nice big old body at 4/3 as a giant, but then also if it does become the target of a spell or of ability, it's going to deal 2 damage to that spell's controller. Then we have the Akroan War. So this is sweet main board, really, really helpful against creature-based decks. We get to gain control of target creature for as long as Akroan War remains on the battlefield. Until our next turn, creatures our opponents control attack each combat if able. And then for 3 there, each tapped creature will deal damage to itself equal to its power. So very, very powerful, very, very critical against a lot of those creature-based decks like Rule Aggro and other aggro-based decks. Then we have Ox of Agonis. So we covered this one already, so I'll leave it at that. And then last but not least, all our lands. We do run 1 Castle Lockwind. We have Fabled Passage as well, something that could be considered, but obviously this is not in 1 deck, which, by the way, it's by the player Tullio Jadi. So congratulations, Tullio, on hitting number 1, well achieved. Additionally, this deck runs 75% win rates, or for them has a 75% win rate, which is pretty awesome. What I like here, again, that maybe would be up for consideration, again, just my opinion, but I'm not the number 1 ranked player here. I actually wouldn't mind throwing in 1 or 2 Crawling Barons. It's not totally going to disrupt the deck, which is nice. And then additionally, I would even consider throwing in another Castle Lockwind. So that's just me, something that I would probably do. But again, really, really like it. Obviously, if we don't do that, it doesn't disrupt too much in terms of the mana capabilities here. So Planeswalkers, that is the main board. If you do got questions or comments, like I said, down below. Additionally, we're going to go here now and check out our sideboard. Now, a quick call out here is it actually runs 4 of Liliana, Waker of the Dead. I will make sure that the list down below reflects that. I'm running 2 here because I wanted to save my craft, so apologies, guys. But I threw in 2 Croxes instead because that's a nice trade-off. So first off, we have Duress. Target opponents can reveal their hand. We choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card. You're going to run this against control decks. You're going to run this against other mid-range decks, and anything trying to have some form of graveyard removal as well is where I would then throw this one in. Next, we have, and this is going to work great against things like Temur Ultimatum, Obosh Ultimatum. I like it against UW Control, any of the Yorion decks, those kinds of things. Then we have a Soul Guide Lantern. Here, when it enters the battlefield, we get to exile target card from a graveyard. So yes, you could hit your own if you wanted to. We can tap it, exile each opponent's graveyard, and then sacrifice it and draw a card. You're going to run this against other Rakdos mid-range decks, you could run it in the mirror match against the Escape version here. You're going to run it against Lurrus decks. It's great against Cycle decks, those kinds of things. So lots of good spots for this one. Good against Rogues decks as well there. Then we got Agonizing Remorse. So here, target opponent's going to reveal their hand. You choose a non-land card from it or a card from their graveyard. Exile that card, you lose 1 life. Similar to the ones above here. Again, it's really about protecting your graveyard. So you want to make sure you're getting stuff out of your opponent's hand that could put you into a problem land when you really are relying on some of these escape things. So those are good considerations there. Also good against, again, more of those late game type decks like Yorion, really picking their hands apart and getting stuff out of there that's going to interrupt their play and allow you to continue to build your board state. Then we got Kroxa. So again, in terms of how I would board this, similar to where I put in the Liliana, which we'll get to in a minute, is where I'll play this. So we'll hang on the Kroxa for now. Next, we got Pharika's Libation. Here, it's an instant speed spell where our target opponent's going to sacrifice a creature or an enchantment. I like this against late game. It's also not a bad one to play, in my opinion, maybe potentially against things like mono green food. And that way you can take off that lovely wolf if it's going to hit you, if you can keep the board clear, those kinds of things. Just other considerations against creature-based decks. Obviously, we already got plenty of coverage, but if you do run into some bigger things that you can't necessarily kill, you can flip this in as an alternative option there. Then we have Extinction Event. Choose odd or even. Exile each creature with converted mana cost to the chosen value. 0 is even. Run this against more creature-based decks that are aggro. Again, we don't have a ton of creatures, so we don't have to worry too much about getting rid of our stuff. And if we do, we have plenty of it to come back and get that value that we need. But the reality is you're going to run this against other aggro-y kind of mid-range decks like Selesnya, counters decks, mono red, Gruul aggro, those kinds of things are all good considerations for Extinction Event. Then last but not least, we got Liliana, Waker of the Dead. So like I said, I would similarly play Kroxa where I'd probably play Lily. The difference here, honestly, is going to be the down 3. But for our +1, each player is going to discard a card. Each opponent who can't loses 1 card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. And then our down 3 is target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in our graveyard. And then last but not least, -7, we get an emblem with at the beginning of our combat in our turn, put target creature card from the graveyard on the battlefield under our control. It gains haste. So I actually like this a lot against not aggro decks, late game decks. The strap's really nice if you do want to play it up front against some of those aggro or mid-range decks. That's not a bad alternative, but the reality is if you can get this on the board and get to that 7, you're going to lock in a lot of those late game type matches, and that's kind of your under in terms of like Ugin decks and those kinds of things. Because if you get there, you're going to be pumping back a lot of value every time you're bringing some of these creatures back of yours from the graveyard, and then obviously from a graveyard on the battlefield, so you can steal your opponents as well. So that's the sideboard. Very, very powerful, does a lot of things, really split in terms of how we need to protect our deck and sideboard as well. So with that said, we're going to talk about how we'll play the aggro matchup, the mid-range matchup, and then the late game matchup. So first off, in the aggro, we're pretty strong in this space. We do have a lot of kill spells, so not too much, in my opinion, that you would move in. Obviously, you could play Kroxa if you wanted to, but you're not going to. You're going to keep the lilies out, in my opinion. You could top end it for the strap if you wanted to, but Pharika's Libation isn't bad. Depending on what they're playing, you may want to play a Soul Guide Lantern as well. Other than that, I think it's pretty strong because we have a lot of those kill spells, like I said. So that's kind of how I would look at it. If you do want to move things around, you could slow it down slightly. You could pull out Shredded Sails. You could pull out Footfall Crater if you wanted to, but I like it on top of the Ox and the Bone Crusher. Again, going over the top and dealing some of that damage is really nice. So not too much in my opinion to kind of change up, but at least to give you some options and things to think about. And we will look at the lands. So we got 22, 26. Again, you guys know I'm a big fan of bumping out some of those lands once in a while if you want to as well. So next, when we talk about the mid-range matchup, this one's going to be a little bit different. You may consider Agonizing Remorse, you may consider Soul Guide Lantern, Croxa, potentially an Extinction Event, depending on how creature heavy they are. Farika's Libation if they're running enchantments or creatures, those kinds of things, or if they're more kill heavy or just spell heavy. Duress and Agonizing Remorse aren't bad options for you either. Most likely here, again, this is going to be maybe like a 4 to 6 that you're going to move around on. Where I would look to is if they're not running a lot of creatures, eliminate. Particularly, Shredded Sails might not be a bad one, so there's a five spots for you to kind of move things around. If they're not playing a ton of creatures, again here, the Akroan War could be a good one. So you always not a bad consideration to think about. Then when we get into the late game, going to be a little bit different here. It's about protecting that graveyard, disrupting our opponent's plays. Here, Duress, Agonizing Remorse, the Croxa, Farika's Libation, and Lilies are going to really be what we want to do. So we're really going to be playing a different deck, in my opinion here. And generally, again, if we have all the Lilies, you're going to be moving all 4 Lilies in, and literally probably 13 cards. So where I would look to maximize and remove things, probably eliminate Shredded Sails if they're not running those artifacts. Akroan War could be another one, so that's 6, that's 9. You may want to get rid of Footfall Crater as well, giving you 11, and Bone Crusher could be an option as well, in case you're not really going to do any, the 2 damage, the chip damage kind of a thing. It's a good finisher once in a while, but that's also a consideration. And you could always change up Heartless Act, but I think that one, if they're not really playing counters, isn't a bad one to play. So that's all I can think of in terms of really moving out. Again, you're really playing a different deck when it gets to that late game matchup. But that's kind of what you would think about, how you would board those pieces in. And then in my opinion, overall, again, against the aggro, the mid-range, and the late game matchup. So Planeswalkers, that's what we have in terms of the deck. Again, this one was by Tulio Jondi, so congratulations, Tulio, on your #1 rank. Additionally, with something different, love the Rakdos Escape here. Really excited to play this. Planeswalkers, again, deck list available for you down below. Links down below. Questions or comments, let me know. All right, so with that said, we're going to move into the next piece here. We're going to go play some competitive Magic with this deck. So let us do that here. So we got standard ranked, best of 1, #1 Rakdos Escape, and we are on. So Planeswalkers, as always, again here, you can skip to the portion of the video. I forgot to mention that. That makes sense. Additionally, really appreciate your support. Please feel free to like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch as well, and subscribe to the channel to continue to support. And then additionally, Planeswalkers, other great ways to support the channel down below. And from there, we'll go. I'm going to mulligan this. The other thing that I do want to just call out quickly here is you guys can obviously follow my Untap profile. I keep it public so that you guys can see how I'm progressing. And additionally, I do have the companion app down there so you guys can track your matches and share your profiles as well. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to keep this. I like the Ox. Probably going to be playing something faster though. So I'm actually going to dump the Ox here. And this way we can hit a bunch of things. So it looks like we have a lovely, one of my favorites, mono white life gain or mono white aggro here. Oh, we did it. We totally did it. I love it. I would be pissed. Okay, I have to say that is pretty funny. Very, very funny, and that's like the top end of the year there. I've been playing mono red and dropping like 2 or 3 nights, and people just get mad. But that definitely topped it. That said, that I would be upset too. I can understand that was a game over. All right, so into our next best of 1 match here today. Oh, Hushbringer, you are one of my favorite cards, but that was the wrong match for that deck, unfortunately. We'll go first, and we'll keep this. Oh, I'm still laughing about that. I'm gonna get rid of that. We only need 1. So this whole video was just worth it. That'd be funny if we doubled up here, though, for sure. We won't, but that's okay. We'll see if they block. Take that one. They'll probably swap it. That's fine. So we still got this guy. We got to eliminate. So we can do a few things next turn. We'll drop the Fabled. We'll go grab our other swamp. We can play Time Array. Depending on what they have, you know, the value at the 4 here might be better. Oh, nope, we're going to play Eliminate now against Basri.
We work together. We can achieve peace. Oketra's love is your shield.
Alright, so nothing we can really hit, but we can do this. And then let's look. Now I could cycle this if I wanted to, but I like that. So this will be a good matchup for us. I will trade, because I want Elseed off the board. Now, they will get Speaker on, which is going to be a pain.
Despite defeat, I am proud of us.
It's not going to matter, because we'll put this in. Ooh. We didn't hit anything. Fire Triton. Let's get rid of that one. So what do we want to take with the Akroan War? So what they'll do is they'll hit it with the Skyclave. We're not going to get the life gain off it. We can take Speaker. I think we take the Speaker, honestly. So that will flip it back over to them. But we slowed it down a turn. Let's not block that one. There we go. We'll take this guy back again. So we just need to survive just long enough here. So 6. So let's go past the blockers. That gives them 2. Let's do that. So 4. We'll gain 1 back. We'll get the Heartless. So next turn, we can hit the Skyclave. Ooh. I don't think we have enough. Well, maybe we do. Depends on where they put the counter on Luminarch. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Well, actually, we're still okay. So we have to block. So this one we can't block. So we gotta go like this. Those two go. No, we didn't hit. We didn't hit our escape. We didn't hit it. I won't trade on that. I'll give him the 2. I'll give him the 2. Oh, intense. There we go. I'm surprised they threw that. Oh. Bummer. Bummer. Well, we're still in it. If that was instant speed, it would have been a little bit nicer. 2 to 62. Oh, no. All you gotta do is bring back Luminarch. There you go. Oh, what a game, though. Seriously, what a game. Very, very impressive comeback for the most part. Well, I shouldn't say comeback, but the reality to live this long against this life gain deck. And unfortunately, we didn't pull any of our stuff that could have really changed the game. We went through over half the deck. And we did not hit a Croxa, and we did not hit the Ox, which is pretty impressive, actually. But we'll take that first match. So we split 1-1. We got to see some fun things today here in Best of 1. So let's move on into our Best of 3 portion of today's play. Traditional Standard. There's the Abzan Midrange deck from yesterday. You guys should absolutely check that out. So here we go into our Best of 3. Maybe we'll hit top 1500. If we would have won that one and then won this, we probably would have had a good shot at it. So downranked, I don't know if we'll get there against Ist Red or List Red. But anyway, Planeswalkers, before we decide to play first here, huge thank you again. Really appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Stay up to date on content like this. Additionally, daily content. And then additionally, great ways to support the channel down below. Lots of great benefits for you guys too. So let's go ahead here and get into our Best of 3 match. I will keep this because we get Croxa, we get Mire, and we get Heartless Act. So we'll see what we're playing. Probably going to be a faster deck. We don't see Yorion. We don't see Aluris for Rogues potential. Probably could be Gruul aggro. We'll find out pretty quickly here, given what we see. All right. Ooh. So we'll double Croxa then. There we go. Oh, we got a mid-range matchup then. This should be interesting. So I'm actually going to take his guy. So they got 4 and That's 5 other cards. Discard. That's fine. Problem is, we probably should have kept that, because now we'll play Kroxa and we'll lose our Heartless Act, but then we'll gain. We won't gain Kroxa yet. We actually have a good match too with some of our exiling stuff. So I could block here and bring Kroxa back if I wanted to, which is what I'm going to do. Ooh. I'm gonna do this and load up. Do I take 9? Block there. Actually, no. Because we can deal damage here. Shoot. We can't do that because they'll double up. Bummer. They actually have lethal here. So all they got to do is attack in with Kroxa, hit me with Skyclave Shade, and then also cast Kroxa again. So that was a unfortunate play there. And that works too. So now that we know that we're playing a mid-range, we can move around a lot of our stuff. So we will run, I'm going to run Agonizing Remorse. We can run the Extinction events. Soul Guy will double up on our Croxes. I'm going to drop the Footfalls. I like the Lilies. Crowing Wars are nice, but if they're not, if I'm gonna focus on exiling, I'm not gonna do that. It's a good question though. Eliminate's still nice. Shredded Sails we don't need. Maybe I'll run the Acroans. How many lands is that? 22. Let's dump one swap. Actually, you know what? Let's run 2 Acroans. Let's dump, because the Extinction's not going to help us as much as we'd like. So I think this works fine. Exile, exile. All kinds of exile going on here. This will still help us. Well, I'm going to do these 2 instead. There we go. All right, we got a little bit to come back here on this match. Play first. Ooh, horrible start. This is better. I'm gonna dump Shatter Skull. I'll let him take Lily here. There's Lily.
Well, that was a waste.
Ugh. Ouch. Maybe I should have took that one. Took the discard, huh? Because I still could have caught it with Elspeth's Nightmare after. Oh, man. Do we want to keep that? It'll save us a turn. Save us a turn better than a land. You know what? I'm going to play it anyway. Just so we can see their hand. Get rid of Hagra. Slow it down. probably not running any white. Actually, they're doing that for the cycle, which is a good idea. So we got to keep doing this, unfortunately. Ox or something, man. Oh. Nothing. No answers. Escape is escaping me today. Oh, are they gonna pull it? Oh, I'll take that. Because they're going to get hit now with that. And we'll take Rankle. There you go. Oh, we've gone through almost all our lands too. Nothing in here that we can use. Steals one life. Oh! Oh. Just takes a Croxa. Or a Lily. Actually, it doesn't take much. 1 damage. Oh, bummer. Bummer. The mulligan hurt us at the beginning. We were down 1 card. So, with that said, Planeswalkers, sweet deck. Didn't play well for us today, unfortunately, but we did get the Hushbringer shut down there, which was pretty awesome. Horrible, like I said, in terms of the best of 3, but that is how it goes, and we will get back nonetheless. So, Planeswalkers, let's go ahead and check out this deck. Again, this was the #1 Rakdos Escape deck, a little bit different style of play, like it. I think it's pretty creative and does a nice job. Unfortunately, it did not run well for us in the way that we played. So bummer on that today, but nonetheless, really enjoyed it. Again, Planeswalkers, questions or comments, let me know down below. Deck list is available for you down below with the links there as well. And then, as always, huge thank you. Really appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch, stay up to date on daily content like this. And additionally, other great ways to support the channel down below, like becoming a patron or a YouTube member. All right, Planeswalkers, you guys stay safe. Enjoy the deck. Pretty sweet. Congrats again to Tulio Jowdy on this particular deck list and lineup. It's always definitely a kudos on hitting the #1 spot. So with that said, Planeswalkers, hope you enjoyed it. I'm just gonna keep that smile on with that Hushbringer Croxa lineup there. So anyway, until next time, you guys stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Lots more things coming your way.